Alright kids, in a previous video I had talked about the end of van life when somebody's van here in Vancouver had burnt down. Now, what do other people think? Regular everyday people living in a stick and brick house like some of us. What do they think of this lifestyle, and what do they think of the explosion of van life here in Vancouver and other cities? We're going to dig into that. Okay, let's see if this is coming in. This is by CBC Vancouver, Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and says a fire in the camper van killed a man in his 50s and burned a 29-year-old woman, blah, 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 blah. So from the comments, Dominique says they're blaming it on the housing crisis here. All of this explosion in van life and burnt we've had more than one burnt down van here. So Dominique says housing crisis is going from bad to worse. All this shutdown of businesses is putting many people out of work. The housing crisis is not going to get solved anytime soon, and this will cause people to have trouble having somewhere to sleep every night. So that's what she is blaming it on. Another comment comes from Lori Campbell. She says no one chooses it, meaning van life or living in a vehicle, but people are reduced to living in vans. So people think we don't choose this lifestyle, according to that person. That's interesting. Katie, what do you got to say on this? This is what a lack of affordable housing causes. People living in cars, vans, and campers because they can't afford to rent anywhere. They're everywhere if you look around for it. Yeah, they are everywhere here, but you know what? Some people do choose this lifestyle. I hope this camera is coming in proper. This guy Dustin says also people do choose to live that life. It's called van life for a reason. And you know what? Tammy says not all of them chosen it. Don't just assume that they do. And yeah, that is actually right. Some people don't choose this life. Some people are forced into it. This guy says his pension is $1,000 a month and he lives in an old RV out in the bush. Even if I and many others could afford an RV site, they are full of stranded snowbirds. Yeah, that's true, because a lot of snowbirds are not leaving this year or can't leave because of the border closures. A lot of people are living in vans because they want to. There's a bunch of vlogs on YouTube of people showing the benefits of living in the van. And then, of course, you get the troll saying, well, the van is the only benefit. It's better than living in a tent. So, and then another guy writes, I have 3 customers forced into RV camper vans because they're forced out of their homes due to sales on the rise and rental houses being sold. Due to the rise in prices on homes, they can't afford a place to live in here. And yeah, that is very, very true. And then this guy goes back to, he says, yeah, instead of doubting van life, look it up. There's a whole bunch of people documenting their lives in a van. Some are making money off it through YouTube. It's a thing that people are doing. And there's vans even decked out with diesel furnaces. So there you go. Oh, some are even making money off it on YouTube. Yeah, we know that. Oh, this Marie says the cause of death is lack of affordable housing. So holy crap, you're getting a wide range of comments here. And then this guy goes back to YouTube again, saying van life and YouTube. Some don't do YouTube and have regular jobs. They can't afford an apartment, but they do choose to live in their van. Again, very true, very true. And here's a comment that says, nowhere did the other guys say that people choose to live that way. Guess what? They do choose to live that way. Also, a vast majority of homeless choose their life as well. Homeless life. Yeah, some people do choose that homeless life. Jennifer also writes, I have friends who choose van dwelling because they like the simplicity and freedom. And I doubt that's the case for most people living in vehicles, but it is for some. And here in Vancouver, yeah, that is very true. I wouldn't have thought so until I stumbled onto this on YouTube. Another good comment saying Abdallah, yeah. I mean, there's nothing you can do about it if a person wants to live in a van or a tent thinking it's better than living in a house and it's affordable. It's hard to change their mentality. So that's very interesting. What is interesting is that some people are blaming it on the mental health living in a van or RV or vehicle. And this person, Robert, writes back, it's a little much when he says the problem is mental health. He should try living in a van for a year and see how his mental health fares before he judges others. Wow, that's a brutal comment. And then the other guy writes back, he says, I didn't say van life was a mental health issue. I said the vast majority of homeless choose this life because they have mental health issues. I choose not to live in a van full time, but maybe I will do some traveling after I retire. So his rebuttal is, you know what? He's almost considering it. And there is some more fighting where this Tammy girl says, hey, you're the one bringing up van life blogs and crap and touting it as a be-all, end-all and everybody's lifestyle choice. And you know what? That's interesting because some van life YouTube video channels do push that idea. What are you doing? You stealing my bird's food? We got interrupted. I put food out for the bird and the big crows came to get it. And again, this seems to be a fight between a couple people here on some people choosing van life and some people not. This girl keeps complaining that not everyone does. A group of van dwellers who choose it and like it. Great. But please stop painting all the people like this, living their best life that they choose, and that's simply not true. Which is, she's got a point and she is right. Not everybody choose this lifestyle. So here's an interesting comment by John. He says the government doesn't do anything about actual people sleeping and dying in cars because of the housing crisis. So some people are thinking that. Wow, that's unbelievable. Okay, this is perhaps one of the best comments here yet. There are so many people living in Vancouver that are in vans, campers, and RVs. You'd think this would be more common as people need heat to survive and cook food. It is sad that living in vehicles is considered affordable housing. Robert Smith, his reply back is, it's not affordable housing. Living in a van is homeless. There you go. That's what people think. Some of them, not all of them. And as Daryl writes back, to you and to others, it's a choice. There are a bunch of them doing video logs on YouTube. Look up Van City Van Life on YouTube. There we go. There we go. Even better. So he says back, reply that you make it sound like they're only too happy to make this choice. Hey, it's a rough. People choose this over sleeping in a tent, apparently. Some will have jobs, but you know, how many people out there are making over $60,000 living in a van and choose this willingly? Again, the guy replies, check out Van City Van Life on YouTube. And this channel, you will find a bunch more people doing this same type of lifestyle. Marie says people don't choose to live in an RV if a better option is available for the same price. People live in vans because they can't afford housing, or they're trying to save money because they can't afford to live in a real apartment or a house and save for retirement. So, wow, yeah. Marie says choosing to live in a van rather than spend 80% of their income on rent is not really a choice. Well, you know what? Yes, it is a choice. You can spend that money on rent and you have the choice to live an optional life. And you know what? Not everybody spends 80% of their income on rent. Let's take this fella here who's living with us. Do you know how much he gives us? $700 a month. Do you know how much he makes? $28 an hour. So there's one case. This guy has replied a lot of the fires like this are by misuse of drugs. And you know what? He has a point here. That's not the first time drug use has caused a fire or death in a van. Susie, what do you say? Sadly, this is going to keep escalating as more and more people turn to living in vehicles to escape the burden of rent in Vancouver. You know what? She is absolutely true. Everything that I've said in the past 4 or 5 years, there's a rise in vans and RVs here in Brandon. Oh my God, where am I living, Chuck? Here in Vancouver, it's getting more and more, and I can see it getting way out of hand. I'm not sure about 100% on that, but wow, it might reach a breaking point, I think. Melanie? Propane probably exploded and blew the van up. Yep, makes sense. That's a possibility. We don't know yet. This one says, with so many propane tanks, gas cans of fuel, and tarps over top of vans and debris piling up, this is bound to happen. And I said this too when I took a tour of that area and videoed it, that, you know what, something tragic could happen. So I should revisit that area. How about that? Another guy blaming it on drug crisis here. Misuse of drugs, doses are high, time to stop the opioid pandemic. The other one, Jersey, you say this is what happens when you don't have affordable housing, where a city councilor's on this. And yeah, that's part of it. Oh, here's another really good comment. Honestly, I don't know why people live in a van. Just sell it. Get yourself a job or something. Life would be different for 100% of them. If you sell your van, yeah, then you'll have a home and cars, and you are meant to deliver from a van and not just live in it. Like, seriously? People think that vans are only meant for delivery vehicles? That baffles me. I have nothing to say about that. I can't re-comment back on that one. You know what? Vans are used for transporting people from A to B. If you got a young kids and a hockey team, 6 people, jump in a van, go. Vans are for touring. Vans are for van dwelling, van life. You know what? That's what people think. Some of the comments that I posted there are what non-van lifers think about our lifestyle. I guess I shouldn't say I, because I'm not living in a van anymore. So I'm not included. I'm in the condom life. But I can tell you this, we're going to be doing some car camping up in the next little while, posting some videos up. Car camping. We're supposed to go out this weekend, but I don't know. It doesn't look like it. And I will have some other tent camping videos coming up. So we'll be exploring around Vancouver district, which means Squamish and some of the mountains and creeks and that. In my very next video, I've got a trip to do around Vancouver area, so I'm going to show you some of the waterfront and some other various areas around here. Because I got some, we won't go there. We'll tell you next video. Anyhow, we got some problems to battle too this coming up week. So a lot of stuff that I got to post and not enough time to do it. So my friends, until those videos and more, we'll see you next time. Keep staying awesome, and I'll keep staying awesome. And until next videos, hey, you know what? Cheers. Stay awesome.